Are you like me and just love, listening, but watching those, cute dog videos on like Facebook or Instagram, and you're just like, cuteness. Like, there's so many good like creators out there that have some really great little videos. Anyway, I'm obsessed, and I'm sure if you're a dog lover like me, you are too. So I have to ask, friend, because you watch those dog videos, is your algorithm now sending you advertisements for training equipment in those weird, like cartoony type ones where they personify not only the equipment, but also the dogs? Have you? Please tell me I'm not the only one that's seen them. I find them so disturbing. They have really, they've really just, they've made me upset. And you know what? If you know, you know, talking about dog training tools is my least favorite thing to do. But now, because I feel like I am just being bombarded with the ridiculousness of these advertisements, I feel like it's my public service duty to talk about tools today. So, I'm feeling spicy today. Hang on to your, whatever you hang on to. Last time I said clutch your pearls or something. Like, what? Gird your loins. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. If you're someone like me that knows deep down in your heart of hearts that there is something more to all this dog training stuff, if you've ever felt like there has to be more than just click a treat and repeat, more than just managing the behavior, more than just chasing the next technique, more than just trying to control everything your dog does. If you know that there's something deeper available in your relationship with your dog, then I want to invite you to check out the Fearless Framework. The Fearless Framework is my 12-month online coaching program where we dive deep into understanding dogs, yes, but more importantly, we get to understand your dog. And together we learn to build trust and connection and influence and build a relationship that makes everything else easier. It's not a quick fix, friend. It's legitimately, though, life-changing. When behavior starts to make sense, everything changes. So if you're looking for that missing piece, that thing that you can't quite put your finger on, but you know exists, come check out the Fearless Framework. Go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless, and I'll see you there. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome. If you are brand new, put your hand up. Just put your hand up. Now, let me ask you, is anyone wondering why you're standing there with your hand up? If so, tell them to mind their own business. Tell them to mind their own business. You want to know why? You want to know why you need to tell them to mind their own business? Because if you are new to Beyond Obedience and you start to if it starts to spark a little something in you where you're like, this might be something, I'm going to ask you to get weird with your dog. Which means you have to be in a space where you can just get weird with it and not care what other people think of you. You don't know how many stories I hear inside my student community where people are like, the neighbors are staring at me, Tracy, but I don't care anymore because my relationship with my dog is just so much better. And I'm like, I know. Who needs your neighbors? As long as your dog thinks you're cool, that's all that matters. You want to know something? Here's the truth. Here's a truth bomb for you. Your neighbors are talking smack about you anyway. You know, like, well, who are you trying to impress? Don't impress them. Impress your dog. You know who doesn't lie to you? Your dog. Your dog doesn't lie to you. So there you go. There you go. If you're in for it, I hope you are, because things can get a little bit wonky in here. Some of the things I'm asking you to do may seem a little bit counterintuitive or strange, but when you do it, bond, extreme. Things get easier. You listen, it's so much easier. Let me just say this, because we're going to be talking about tools today. Wait, hold on. She says with a sigh. I hate talking about tools. But we're going to be talking about tools today. So because we're talking about tools today, I really want you to like internalize the things that I'm going to say to you right now, because if you start to embrace the things that we discuss here on the podcast, the things that we talk about in the Fearless Framework community, if you start to embrace all of those things, first of all, you're going to notice, not right away. Let me just be 100%. I'm going to be 100% transparent for you. Most of my students that start to see like the massive shifts, the ripple effects of the work that they're doing, doesn't happen in like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff does. Like the bigger stuff does, but the deep down, the ripple effect of how things work. You know what I heard just the other day inside one of the comments from one of the students was that, the dog that brought her to the program, that she came as the quote unquote problem dog. Yes, that dog is getting better, but the ripple effect has affected her whole pack, and her whole pack in general has just benefited from the work that she's doing. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. You come to me with one problem dog, but you've got multiple dogs, you're going to find your life in general, all the lives of your dogs are going to change by just making these shifts. So I just want to put that out there. Like, everything else gets easier. Everything else gets easier. And what you will find, if you've ever found yourself in the dog training tool debates, I'm sorry for you. But here's what you're going to find. Once you start doing this, you're going to realize something is all of a sudden going to hit you like smack in the face, and you're going to say, oh, shoot, the tools don't matter. The tools don't matter. Like, that's the realization that will hit you. You'll be like, oh, snap. I've been worried about what so-and-so thinks about me using this tool or that tool, and the tools don't matter. And once you can walk away from that, friend, freedom. At least for me, it was freedom. It was absolute freedom. Absolute freedom. Anyway, there we go. I don't even know where I started with that. Welcome to Beyond Obedience. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, my friend. My name's Tracy. I have been working with and living with large packs of dogs for over 20 years. And I am at, my lowest number of dogs seems like forever. I'm down to 6. And that to me is just crazy small. But I will tell you, here's the thing. Once you get this stuff, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, it gets so much easier to collect more dogs. That's the thing that could happen. All right, listen, enough about me and all the things. Let's talk about tools. Ugh. Let's talk about tools. Okay, so this whole thing, if you heard my intro, this whole thing started because I am honestly, and I mean honestly, disgusted and disturbed by the advertisements that I am seeing on the social media platforms. Like, disgusting. First of all, outside of the dog training industry, I sent a picture to my daughter. I'm like, why are these getting worse? These stupid cartoon advertisements. Do you know the ones I'm saying? The ones that they look like Disney characters, the big eyes, and I've seen a couple, right? Because obviously my other algorithmic line is my health, being in menopause and having, chronic pain and all of that stuff. So I also get, other, it doesn't matter. The point is I get two different types. I get the dog training types and I get the other type. And the dog training tools advertisements are disgusting. Like, I don't know how anybody anywhere knows what the bejesus they are supposed to be using. What is the most politically correct? Because that's what it is about, friend. I'm going to get animated here because it disgusts me. It's like, what is the most PC thing that I can put on my dog? Next thing you know, you're going to see people like, you really should just cover your dog in pillows and just, because everything else is awful and torturous and you're hurting your dog and you're what does that say? You're a terrible human being for even thinking about using this tool. Here's where I lost it, right? Because the first one I saw, it villainized all the training tools. And I mean, like, villainize them, like the prong collar, the slip collar, the head halty. I used to think the head halty was the PC thing. I'm like, is that not the thing? I thought that was the thing. I can't even keep up. Anyway, so it put like girly, snarly faces on them and like made them all like, this is what I do. Like, I am pinching and hurting your dog and I strangle your dog, and like, awful. Like, just the most ridiculous things. So I was like, okay. And obviously they're promoting a harness. Okay. Harness. And I was like, whatever. This is not new to me, by the way. Like, it's not new to hear about villainizing all the tools about, how awful they are. That part wasn't new. Then, and this is what tipped me right over the edge. Harness company, and I think I don't even want to say it, it's like some stupid name like friendly.co or some garbage. And I say garbage. I'm only saying garbage. The harness actually might be fine. Let me just put that out there. The harness might be fine, but your marketing skills, your marketing tactics, repulsive. Like, just repulsive. So I think it's friendly.co or something. Anyway, that harness company has started making advertisements where now it personifies the dog and it makes the dog say all these things, shows the dogs like all like cowering in the corner going, when I run away from you, it's because the harness that you put on me hurts so bad. And this isn't a game. And you try to make me feel better with treats, but blah, blah. And I was like, first of all, anthropomorphic. Let's look that up. Second of all, what? Like, now you're attacking other harnesses. Like, it's not enough for you to be like, this is a better option than the training tools, is this harness. But now you're attacking other harnesses. Like, no tool is safe from this company. Apparently, this training harness is the only this is the only harness. And here's the thing. Friend. Here's the thing. When it gets into the part about how the tool works, it's a front clip harness. And I tell you, I don't like me a front clip harness. I don't like any harness that pulls your dog off balance to spin them back to you. I don't see how you can actually not recognize that doesn't seem right. But anyway, they of course have spun it that what it does is it turns the dog back to dad or mom whoever is in that particular stupid commercial. So, but it does it from the dog's point of view. So from the dog's POV, it's like, so now if this great harness I'm wearing, when I pull, I just get redirected back to dad. And I'm like, okay. Here's the thing. Here's a thought for you. I'm just going to put this out here. You could also, I don't know, work with the dog to want to walk with you. Like you could also just teach the dog the value of not pulling without that. You know what? Like we dismiss the fact, all of these things dismiss the fact that the tool will solve the problem, and it is not. And dog owners are desperately trying to solve the problem, right? Desperately trying to solve the problem. So they're like, oh, this will solve my problem. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. All it's doing is pulling your dog off balance and spinning them towards you. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. Listen, here's the thing. Let's talk about this. First of all, here's a concept everybody needs to recognize. Okay. Everything that you use with your dog is technically a tool. Okay. Flat collars, harnesses, long line, slip collars, head halters, e-collars, muzzles, treats, all of them. Do you notice I said treats? Treats are also a tool. It's a tool that you use. It's a tool that you use to amplify a result that you want. It's still a tool, right? They're all tools. None are magic. Also, all can be used incorrectly and quote unquote abusively. All can be used that way. None are magic, and all of them can be used the wrong way. All right. Let's talk about what a tool should be. Okay. A tool can create leverage, right? That's what it can be used for. It can help bridge gaps in communication. We talk a lot about the gaps that happen between dogs and humans. Just the fact that we're completely different species. How we see the world is completely different. And because of that difference, because dogs see the world through their nose and humans see the world through their eyes, we're eye dominant, dogs are nose dominant. There's a big gap there. There's so much that we don't understand. As much as we would like to try to get our brain into the mind of the dog, there's so much we really can't understand. So tools help us to bridge that gap. Tools can slow a dog down. They can redirect movement. They can improve your safety, right? And they can also amplify communication. But a tool cannot create trust. It's not really influential, and it doesn't build connection. It can amplify those things, but it won't create it for you. Right? So the real goal here shouldn't be finding the equipment that keeps your dog near you. The goal should becoming somebody the dog wants to stay near. Okay? That is actually what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm not against tools. I have all the tools. I have used all the tools. I have had moments in my life, might have been when I was drunk in Mexico. I may have fallen, hurt my shoulder real bad. I was wrecked for a while, and I mean a while. But man, it was a good time. I mean, Mexico, am I right? When in Rome. But the point is, I was hurt for a very, very long time. I couldn't stop doing my job. I couldn't stop doing the pack walks and walking the dogs. I did for dogs that were stronger than me. I did put them back on their training tools just to give me that little bit of leverage till my arm was feeling better. Because had the dogs pulled me while I was injured, I wouldn't have recovered. It would have been a permanent shoulder injury. And then that's not fun. Then I would have this scarred memory of Mexico forever. Nobody wants that. So the idea here is that you are your goal, my friend, through all of this. Let me just sort of clarify my thoughts here. Your goal through all of this is to become influential, but you shouldn't. Oh, my thing is spinning. Hold on. But you shouldn't be made to feel guilty or shamed or bad if you require a tool. But the goal is to understand that that tool is not the solution, right? That tool is not the solution to the problem. It should just be used to help clarify, to help solidify things, to help give you some leverage to get a deeper understanding while you keep working on building that relationship, building that bond, building that connection, and understanding your dog better. That should be the goal, but no shame. And that's the thing. Getting back to those stupid commercials. That's the reason why I will never support that company. I will never support that company, even if it is a great harness, even if it has breather. What's the other thing? Oh gosh, there's some other one that came out. Oh, I can't even remember. There's so many of that. It's the same company. There's so many of them where they've personified the dogs and then, and then just made the owners look terrible. And I'm like, you know what? Owners do a good enough job beating themselves up. They don't need you telling them. I spend most of my days trying to convince my audience and my good loving friends and all of my dog loving friends. I spend most of my time trying to convince them, and honestly myself, I struggle with these things too, that we are good people, that we're doing the best that we can. And when we know better, we do better, and all of those things, because we will run ourselves through the ringer. We don't need a stupid marketing campaign to make us feel less than, right? That's what infuriates me about it. That's what infuriates me about it, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe that there are certain tools, certain training tools, while very effective, do require you to get some training on, right? I do agree that certain tools, especially tools like e-collars and that sort of thing, they shouldn't be available to the public. To just be you just go buy it, there should be a course or a training thing that you have to take. That's just my own personal opinion on that. But yeah, sorry. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm just picturing all the stupid ads. I hate them. And the thing is I know that they are obviously just deleting comments where people are like, what garbage messaging is this? Because there's got to be more people. Every time I look at the comments, it's always people like, I bought one, they're great. And I'm like, you're a bot. You're a bot. As I say, they might be fine. I don't agree with front clip harnesses personally. And I do believe in, when using a harness, I do believe that you have to monitor your dog's gait. That's very important to make sure that they can still move. But the thing to keep in mind is that the purpose of the equipment is that the dog shouldn't be pulling anyway. You know what I mean? We always compare. I'm just rambling now, just so you know. I've gone off script. I don't even know where my notes are anymore. I'm just rambling. But like when we talk about the head harness, right? We base that off of horses, right? And the idea being that if you can control the head of a 2,000-pound animal and be able to move them around and keep them walking beside you, then putting that on a dog should also work, right? That's kind of the concept behind it. There's a couple of things that are a little bit flawed with that. The first is that there's the difference between prey and predator. Okay, there's a big difference between prey and predator, because for those of you that have ever tried a head harness, they do tell you that you have to train the dog to use them. Like, you have to get them used to it. You know, you start off slow, like any other training collar. You should always start off slow and never do it with distractions and blah, 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 blah. But for any of you that have tried it or seen a dog that's newly wearing one, what do all of those dogs try to do? Like, the majority of them, 99% of them, will try to take the nose piece off their nose. Some of them will alligator roll. They'll like claw at their face. Like, they'll try to rip their own faces off to get that nose piece off their nose. Why is that? Because when you put something over the nose of a dog, that is what I like to call the business end, right? That's your dog's main form of defense. That's their main form of defense. If they need to defend themselves against threats, they need their mouths. And so when us dopey humans strap a piece of material around them and then try to control that part of them, if you don't have an extremely great relationship with that dog, one where you have proven to that dog time and time and time again that you see all the threats and that you have his back and that you are able to throw down if a threat comes. If you haven't developed that kind of relationship, they are going to feel uncomfortable you being in control of their main defense. It is not the main defense of a horse, right? Our horse friends like to use their feet. They like to kick the crap out of things. So they're not as offended when you strap something around their mouth. That's the main difference. That's why dogs protest so much. Now, I'm going to get into this now because why not? Now, think about what I just said, though. Does that mean that you can't use that? No, but you better be sure that you're not only training them on that halter or head halter or gentle leader or whatever the sidekicks, whatever they're called now, that you're also working on your relationship. You're proving to the dog, I see threats. I am with you with this. We are partners in survival. So if I need to use this equipment on you, if I am taking out your main defense system, you can depend on me. If you don't understand threats to dogs from a dog's perspective, threats, how dogs see threats, angles, position, speed, all of those things. If you don't get that stuff and you're not partnering with that dog in survival and you slap a head halter on them, don't be surprised if they are like, this isn't going to work for me, friend. Right? That's the thing. Now, I haven't used it that often. I have used a head harness before. I've used it on dogs that have been inappropriately using their mouths. So when I was doing pack walks back in the day, if I didn't have like a good fitted muzzle, I would sometimes use the head harness so that the dog understood that I had control of his mouth. And I was like, I'm not going to let you, chomp on that dog over there. But that's about all I've used them for. And I would be hard pressed to find one in my tool because like I'd have to dig deep in my box of dog stuff to try to find one if I'm being 100. So there's that. And I have, I talk more about these kind of things inside the Fearless Framework when it comes to like training tools and whatnot. And maybe, will I get into it here? I try not to get into it. Anytime I start talking about tools, I get animated and the thing. Here's my point. Here, let's reel this in, Tracy. This is getting long in the tooth. Here's my point. The tools are the tools. All things are tools, including treats. But, and this is going to sound terrible, you are the biggest tool in your toolkit. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, the tool that you should be working on is you, right? That should be the thing that you're working on. Can I be the most influential thing in my dog's life? How do I do that? That is exactly what we talk about inside the Fearless Framework, how you can be that person that can be so influential that all the other stuff just becomes gravy. Doesn't mean you're not going to use it, friend. Doesn't mean you're not going to use it. As I said, I got hurt in Mexico. I had to bring out my training tools again for my own safety, right? Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. Dogs are still dogs. They're still predators. They're still going to be dogs. That's not going to change. No matter how well trained they are, they're still going to be dogs. They can make a mistake. And if that mistake ends up permanently damaging you because you're injured, no bueno. You know what I'm saying? So if you work on you, you can utilize all of this equipment that you need to and realize it's not about the tool. It is not about the tool. It really isn't. It's about you. And you can do this. And then everything else becomes like gravy. Like treats for me and the dogs, that's like gravy. I don't use it as a main form of anything, but it's gravy for me. You know, I don't like well, I'm not going to get into treats again. This is getting long. This is getting long. This is getting long. Okay. So the goal isn't finding the right equipment. The goal should be becoming someone your dog wants to stay with. That's the goal. I'm going to continue this actually in the next episode. I got to go. But join me for part 2 of this. We're going to talk about this a little bit more just because I have some examples that real life examples that happen in my own life. But I'm not going to talk about it now because it's already, we're getting too long. Listen, friend, if you like this sort of thing, can you do me a favor? Head on over to Apple Podcast. Leave me a 5-star written review. Really helps to push the podcast out to more and more people. And specific shout out to my fellow Canadians. If you're Canadian and you're watching this, please do me a favor. Do me a favor and go to Apple, if you're on Apple, and leave me a 5-star written review. Because I had somebody that was mean and left me a 1-star review. And I was just mean. It was just mean. And it's just mean. So let's counterbalance that. I need more people that love me. Do me that solid. Listen, I want you today, my friend, to get out there and be the person that your dog thinks you are. Because your dog thinks that you are amazing, and so do I. Hear me when I say, do not let crappy marketing tell you otherwise. You, my friend, are amazing, and I love you. All right. I'll see you in the next episode. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only, and it's not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you are struggling with dangerous behavior with your dog, please reach out to a behavior professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.